I decided to make a video again. This is going to be the Slant 6 that's going to go into Plan Z. I've done a few things I'm just going to share with you. One, I'm going to backfeed oil here because I do put a set screw in here that's rather large. So this way I can feed it in here, and the number 4 and the number 6 rod are not going to be starved of any oil. Obviously, I always change this to have this is where my oil setting in is. I'm going to come off the back of the pump and then go up to here because eventually this engine will be turbocharged, so this will help that out. We're going to come back over to what I'm doing on the mains, and this is basically all about oiling what I'm going to be doing here in this video. Righty. Next thing I'm going to talk about is an oil squirter. I always put these in, and how I do this is I drill a tiny little hole right there from the main galley. Now you can only do this if you have an oil pump that has all 6 bolts. If you're missing this bolt here or this one, yeah, you can't use it. So, and I just drill a tiny little hole there, pressurizes this. This is off of a Volkswagen Jetta, I think is what it is. It's got a little pressure ball there. So at idle, it's not putting any pressure, but when you're on the throttle, you're putting high pressure there, it opens that up and it squirts oil right there on the gear. So that way it doesn't, chew it up. And whenever you buy bearings, they come with 2 holes. The main hole is there. That is the main hole that comes on these. And that's a secondary hole. So if you're going to be drilling these holes bigger, which I have here, what I always do on these is I'll put a little chamfer up to this hole. So that way, if you're drilling a bigger hole and you don't enlarge the oil going to this, you're not increasing anything because that's the restriction point. So what I'm going to be doing is you can see where I put the chamfer right in there. So that way it feeds here. Eagle-eyed people notice that I also drill 2 holes on these bearings. Then what I do is I take a center punch and then I punch it here and here, here and here. And then what I'll do is I'll take a Sharpie and I run a Sharpie line right between the 2. And then I'm going to come in here with a cutoff wheel. The cutoff wheel I use is a nice used up one. And this works beautiful because that way you can kind of get in there like this and it doesn't go down too far. And you can cut it in there. These are some old bearings that I have. I might actually have to use these. We'll see, but this is how I drill the whole 2 holes in. Those are 7/64, I believe. And I put a little chamfer on the back side of it. So that way I'm feeding, this is the main oil galley here. I'm chamfering to that one. And then I put a groove on it to these 2 here. I'm going to run this thing really, really, really loose on the tolerances because this is going to be a drag engine. So I'm going to run probably the VR1 2050 in this. But I want to be able just to let the oil squirt and flow everywhere. So I want the oil to flow as much as possible. All right. So I'm going to groove one of these things and show you how I do all that. Alrighty, next step. One more thing before you start cutting. See, I haven't cut this yet. I get a shop vac. I'll turn it on, and that way it's sucking up all the dust right in here. And all I'm going to do is just basically groove it from there and just be on that dot. Just so between those 2 dots, I'm going to put a little Sharpie line there, and just like I did on the other one, and then groove it out. Alrighty. Okay, so I've already ground them down. You can kind of see down in there that I'm on the groove. And here's why I mark them, so that you can see how it's in line. But if you notice on this one, it's not necessarily in the center of the hole. This is why I use the center punch, because these things are drilled from the factory and they're all over the place. So even this one is not really on center. So that's the reason why I put the bearing in there and put the center punch. But that's all you're trying to do is just put a little groove. That way you can send some oil. It's about 50 thousandths deep or so, maybe 100 thousandths. Really, this is not rocket science. All you're really trying to do is just increase some of the oil flow. All I did is I really ground it down that depth. So that's about 100, maybe 120 thousandths maybe. But all you're trying to do is just send some extra oil pressure into this groove. So that way, if if you're enlarging the hole, which I did here, this is 5/16, you're basically now putting oil in the hole. So yeah, there's the groove. Yeah, there's the groove. I got the crank lathe in here. Remember, this is just mock-up. That's all this is. So nothing's clean, but they're not torqued down. They're just basically set in there, but it's nice. It spins freely, easily. I do have a little bit, if you can hear it. So there's play in it, which is good. You don't want to bind up bearings when you're just mocking up. I'm going to be putting this one in and this one in, number 1 and number 6. So I just cleaned these journals off. I do have some, some leftover bearings I want to put on here. I'm going to clean out the actual holes, and then I'm going to put the pistons in, and so that way I can measure to make sure that side and that side are the same. So when I do my compression, I'll know if there's any taper in it or whatever. And then that way I know it's flat. I just need to know if it's flat here and the same over here. So yeah, alrighty, moving on. So now we're going to measure it. So right now I have it measured on a deck surface. It's at 0 when it's there. So then we just go back over here, and this will tell us how far it's in the hole. So we're at, I'm trying to read through a screen, about 78 into the hole. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 72. 72 in the hole in that one. And then see what we got here. 72. So 72 in the hole is what it is. I always check rock too. So I'll put it on either side and then test for piston rock. It's got a little piston rock in it. So that would be the lowest it's got, but I always do it in the center because that's going to be the average once it heats up. So that's good. So we'll go from there. We're going to see what we can get out of this. I think I'm going to use this head right here. I mean, I've got plenty of Slant 6s lined up, so I can explode them. I've got about 7 cranks over there. I've got 2 more engines in the back room. So I've got them lined up like cordwood. So I'm going to, we're going to see what we can do out of this one, since this one's kind of machined and ready to go. And, but yeah, this is where I'm at on this one. And this is just, I'm going to show you something. Check this out. Watch. Once I get it to right here, once I get it to right about, look, it goes on its own. It's kind of cool. So yeah, it's like I said, she's as loose as a goose. When I bring it back up, she just drops down on her own. So yeah, it's definitely a loose bearings here, but I mean it's a race car. So yeah, see, just the way the pistons do it. So yeah, I'm going to probably reuse these bearings. I'll just clean them up and then reuse them, but I'm definitely going to get new rings. And these things are all cleaned up. I'll just emery cloth everything because this thing had less than, a couple hundred miles on it when I took it apart. And then I'm just going to clean it all up. It's been sitting here for a little while, but this is what I do. This is, I experiment with things. I like backflowing oil. I like changing oil flow paths. In fact, you're going to see here soon, over here. This is probably going to be the 333 class engine. This is the 318 right here. So yeah, I'm going to be doing some awesome oiling tricks to that. Basically what I did inside the Cookie Monster to make it survive, will live longer, and hopefully I can make this thing live longer. Yeah. All right, you guys take it easy. Catch you on the flip side. Bye.